Hello and welcome back to the ministry, and today we're doing the prayer course and we're talking about prayers for Thanksgiving. You ready to give some thanks as we come into the month of November? It's time to give thanks. And no, you're not supposed to only give thanks in November because it's Thanksgiving. You give thanks on a daily basis. You give thanks in prayer. Remember when I told you in the previous courses, I did a 40-day fast. This prayer you see coming forth before you even now is the prayer I prayed every morning of that fast. I thank God. I repented. I prayed for others. I prayed for myself. And then I asked and I sought and I knocked for the very specific things in which I was seeking God. I can't remember whether I read the word first or I read the word after, but I did that every single morning for 40 days. Ask, seek, knock. I got that job I talked about in the previous, during that time frame. This is the way that I pray. To this day, I've been walking with God for almost 9 years. April of the coming year, which is 6 months from now, will be the 9th-year anniversary of me walking with the Lord. And I still to this day pray this same prayer, this same structure. You fill in your blanks for yourself. But this is the way that I pray. Thank you, Jesus, I believe it was the apostle that showed me how to do this. And he every once in a while will come back and refresh it. But the way I pray. For I pray for me, as I said before. I was taught as a young age. I slowly found more understanding. As I prayed in prayer, I used it more often. I started to pray. I remember being a child and my mother teaching me how to pray with the scriptures. Praying that Psalms 23, we all know it. Lord's Prayer, we all know it. Specific family-oriented prayers. I started to use these prayers more and more after my mother passed away. But while she was living, I really had nothing to do with it. I didn't really have no feeling that I needed to pray at the time. But after her passing, I was lost and confused, and I began to praise for the peace of Jesus, or to pray for the peace of Jesus after her passing, so I could work through the emotions that I was dealing with. I was trying to avoid them, but God had me in an isolated season during that season too. God will force you into seasons of isolation. Kept me in the house for darn near about as long as I've been in the house this season of holding. Every season he graduates you. Now I'm gonna be honest. I pray for clarity. But after my mother passed, I started dating my ex. There's a reason he was an ex. Spiritually, we were not aligned. And this is why I believe we didn't lose more than anything. He was an atheist. Yeah, I said it. He was an atheist. I was young, I was stupid, I was going through some things, and he was nice to me. He cared for me. He took me out. It was a way to distract from the loneliness. And through it, I didn't openly practice Christianity, but I was christened when I was a child. And at that time, we worked. As long as I didn't talk about Jesus. Let me tell you something. Pause right here. If you ever dating anybody and they seem like they your best friend, they love on you as long as you loving on them, and they doing all this kind of stuff. But the second you start talking about Christ too much, it seems like y'all flare up into arguments out of nowhere, and you like, what in the world's wrong with you? Run. 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 He was an atheist. I should have known that.
Morning.
Morning.